عشق از صدره علامت با شعله فارانی هم با جام بلامت از ساحت سبحانی اول کوب فنا بخشد بر زمره عشاق وانگاه کند باقی از نفحه روحانی. ای عشق تویی سلطان در مرکز امکان که از سینه ببردی تو همه صبر و شکیبایی. گه آتش و گه موسایی گه صوت علالایی گه بنده و گه شاهی از جلوه ربانی. خلقی به راه افتاده هم مرده و جان داده یک نفسی برکش ای روح مسیحایی. ناسود بروز تو لاهوت ظهور تو هاهوت حضور تو ای گوهر از روی چو ماهت برگیر تا شمس برون آید از پرده ظلمانی. من صید دو ابرویت هم بسته گیسویت، گه به کمندم بندی همگاه تو بگشایی. من صید دو ابرویت هم بسته گیسویت، گه به کمندم بندی همگاه تو بگشایی.
Already 9 months before his ascension, Baha'u'llah, as attested by Abdul Baha, had voiced his desire to depart from this world. From that time onward, it became increasingly evident from the tone of his remarks to those who attained his presence that the close of his earthly life was approaching, though he refrained from mentioning it openly to anyone. On the night preceding the 11th of Shawwal, 1309 AH, May 8th, 1892, he contracted a slight fever which, though it mounted the following day, soon after subsided. He continued to grant interviews to certain of the friends and pilgrims, but it soon became evident that he was not well. His fever returned in a more acute form than before. His general condition grew steadily worse. Complications ensued, which at last culminated in his ascension at the hour of dawn on the 2nd of Dhul-Qa'dah, 1309 AH, May 29th, 1892, 8 hours after sunset, in the 75th year of his age. His spirit, at long last released from the toils of a life crowded with tribulations, had winged its flight to his other dominions whereon the eyes of the people of names have never fallen, and to which the luminous maid, clad in white, had bidden him hasten, as described by himself in the Law Iruya, Tablet of the Vision, revealed 19 years previously on the anniversary of the birth of his forerunner.
The news of his ascension was instantly communicated to Sultan Abdul Hamid in a telegram which began with the words, "The sun of Baha has set," and in which the monarch was advised of the intention of interring the sacred remains within the precincts of the mansion, an arrangement to which he readily assented. Baha'u'llah was accordingly laid to rest in the northernmost room of the house, which served as a dwelling place for his son-in-law, the most northerly of the 3 houses lying to the west of and adjacent to the mansion. His interment took place shortly after sunset, on the very day of his ascension.
Baha'u'llah's stupendous task on this earthly plane had, moreover, at the time of his passing, been brought to its final consummation. His mission, far from being in any way inconclusive, had, in every respect, been carried through to a full end. The message with which he had been entrusted had been disclosed to the gaze of all mankind. The summons he had been commissioned to issue to its leaders and rulers had been fearlessly voiced. The fundamentals of a doctrine destined to recreate its life, heal its sicknesses, and redeem it from bondage and degradation had been impregnably established. The tide of calamity that was to purge and fortify the sinews of his faith had swept on with unstemmed fury. The blood which was to fertilize the soil out of which the institutions of his world order were destined to spring had been profusely shed. Above all, the covenant that was to perpetuate the influence of that faith, ensure its integrity, safeguard it from schism, and stimulate its worldwide expansion had been fixed on an inviolable basis.
tears are falling. I search in vain for words to say, to think that I could be living in this day. I would travel land and sea just to let thy pen remember me among the ones who gave themselves away. Oh, Baha'u'llah, the world is watching, hoping for some light to shine, something I've been given grace to find. Oh, Baha'u'llah, how can I just keep the fire pent up inside while the days are swiftly passing by? I would travel land and sea just to let thy pen remember me among the ones who gave themselves away. And I will travel land and sea, and I will pause and turning to the east, offer up my praises unto thee. Praises unto thee.
اون روز من در رکاب جمال و مبارک از جنینه تا قصر پیاده آمدم.
That day, in the presence of Baha'u'llah, I walked from that little garden, Junayneh, to the palace of Bahji, the mansion of Bahji.
باران هم نم نم می آمد
And there was a little rain falling.
و البته این از یکی افتخارات بزرگ من بود که در روز عید در رکاب جمال و مبارک از جنینه تا بهجی قصر بهجی پیاده باشم.
And this was one of the great honors that came my way, that day on Nowruz I could walk in his presence from the little garden to Bahji.
یکی از تشرفها در روزی بود که دیگر جمال و مبارک به ظاهر نقاهت داشتن و در بستر جالس بودن.
And another day was when apparently his health was not quite good. He was a little under the weather and he was in his bed.
یک هفته به صعود مبارک مانده بود.
And it was only 1 week before he ascended.
احضار فرمودند نفوسی که در قصر حاضر بودند من جمله از اون نفوس یکی من بودم.
And he called to him the people then present in the mansion, and of those people I was one.
این آخرین دفعه‌ای بود که در 6 ماه من به حضور مبارک مشرف شدم.
And in the 6th month This was the last time that I saw him.
اون روز هیکل مبارک بسیار ضعف داشتند، تکیه فرموده بودند در بستر.
And he was very weak that day, and he was leaning back in the bed.
آیات کتاب مستطاب اقدس را در ذکر صعود تلاوت می فرمودند.
And he was reading those verses of the most holy book which tell about his ascension.
که مضطرب نشوید، پریشان نشوید، ساکن باشید و بر استقامت و ثبوت بیفزایید. از این قبیل مطالب بیان می‌فرمود.
Be not perturbed when the sun of my beauty hath set. Be not perturbed, arise and be firm.
بسیار تأکید بر استقامت در امر الله می‌فرمودند.
And over, be firm and steadfast in the cause of God.
و آخر بیان مبارک در ذکر اجتناب و دوری از اختلاف بود.
And the last of it was to shun discord and differences.
در این موضوع چند فقره بیان فرمودند با حالت ضعفی که در وجود مبارک بود.
And weak as he was, he mentioned this many times.
و تأکید در وحدت و اتحاد.
Be one and be united.
سه کلمه اون روز بسیار اهمیت داشت: وحدت و اتحاد و اجتناب از اختلاف و استقامت کبرا در امر الله.
Unity, avoidance of all discord, steadfastness. Those were the three words he emphasized that day.
Attainment unto the divine presence can be realized solely by attaining his presence. Through his potency, everything that hath, from time immemorial, been veiled and hidden, is now revealed. There are those that are by means of images, manifestations, mirrors, proofs, and trusted guidance for, if not through the intervention of an intermediary, the ultimate objective is not reached, as there must be an intermediary to transmit to earth the life-giving power of the sun, so there must be an intermediary to bring God to man, and this is found through the ever-present efficacy of the Holy Spirit.
Be not dismayed, O peoples of the world, when the day star of my beauty is set, and the heaven of my tabernacle is concealed from your eyes. Arise to further my cause, and to exalt my word amongst men. We are with you at all times, and shall strengthen you through the power of truth.
O my God, aid thou thy servant to raise up the word, and to refute what is vain and false, to establish the truth, to spread the sacred verses abroad, reveal the splendors, and make the morning's light to dawn in the hearts of the righteous.
We, verily, wrote Baha'u'llah, surveying in the evening of his life from his most great prison the entire range of this vast and weighty revelation, have not fallen short of our duty to exhort men and to deliver that whereunto I was bidden by God, the Almighty, the All-Praised. Is there any excuse, he further has stated, left for anyone in this revelation? No, by God, the Lord of the mighty throne. My signs have encompassed the earth, and my power enveloped all mankind.
O my God, aid thou thy servant to raise up the word, and to refute what is vain and false, to establish the truth, to spread the sacred verses abroad, reveal the splendors, and make the morning's light to dawn in the hearts of the righteous.
He is God, O peerless Lord. Praised be thou for having kindled that light in the glass of the concourse on high, for having guided that bird of faithfulness to the nest of the Abha kingdom. Thou hast joined that precious river to the mighty sea. Thou hast returned that spreading ray of light to the Sun of Truth. Thou hast welcomed the captive of remoteness into the garden of reunion, and led him who longed to look upon thee to thy presence in thy bright place of light. Thou art the Lord of tender love. Thou art the last goal of the yearning heart. Thou art the dearest wish of the martyr's soul. Thou art the dearest wish of the martyr's soul. The martyr's Thou art the Lord of tender love. Thou art the last goal of the yearning heart.
هو الله تعالی پروردگارا مرزگارا نفس نفیسی به ملکوت شهود سعود نمود و از خاکدان فانی به جهان جاودانی شتاب. میهمان جدید است عزیز فرما بنده قدیم است خلعت بدی عطا کن ای بی نیاز بیامرز و بنواز و به خلوتگاه راز راه ده و در محفل تجلی همدم و دمساز نما تویی دهنده و بخشنده و مهربان و تویی آمرزنده و نوازنده و توانا
The praise which hath dawned from thy most august self, and the glory which hath shone forth from thy most effulgent beauty, rest upon thee, O thou who art the manifestation of grandeur and the King of eternity, and the Lord of all who are in heaven and on earth. I testify that through thee the sovereignty of God and his dominion, and the majesty of God and his grandeur were revealed, and the day stars of ancient splendor have shed their radiance in the heaven of thy irrevocable decree, and the beauty of the unseen hath shone forth above the horizon of creation. I testify, moreover, that with but a movement of thy pen, thine injunction, be thou, hath been enforced, and God's hidden secret hath been divulged, and all created things have been called into being, and the revelations have been sent down. I bear witness, moreover, that through thy beauty the beauty of the adored one hath been unveiled, and through thy face the face of the desired one hath shone forth, and that through a word from thee thou hast decided between all created things, causing them who are devoted to thee to ascend unto the summit of glory, and the infidels to fall into the lowest abyss. I bear witness that he who hath known thee hath known God, and he who hath attained unto thy presence hath attained unto the presence of God. Great therefore is the blessedness of him who hath believed in thee and in thy signs, and hath humbled himself before thy sovereignty, and hath been honored with meeting thee, and hath attained the good pleasure of thy will, and circled around thee, and stood before thy throne. Woe betide him that hath transgressed against thee, and hath denied thee, and repudiated thy signs, and gainsaid thy sovereignty, and risen up against thee, and waxed proud before thy face, and hath disputed thy testimonies, and fled from thy rule and thy dominion, and have been numbered with the infidels, whose names have been inscribed by the fingers of thy behest upon thy holy tablets. Waft then unto me, O my God and my beloved, from the right hand of thy mercy and thy loving kindness, the holy breaths of thy favors, that they may draw me away from myself and from the world unto the courts of thy nearness and thy presence. Potent art thou to do what pleaseth thee. Thou truly hast been supreme over all things. The remembrance of God and his praise, and the glory of God and his splendor rest upon thee, O thou who art his beauty. I bear witness that the eye of creation hath never gazed upon one wronged like thee. Thou wast immersed all the days of thy life beneath an ocean of tribulations. At one time thou wast in chains and fetters. At another thou wast threatened by the swords of thine enemies. Yet despite all this, thou didst enjoin upon all men to observe what had been prescribed unto thee by him who is the all-knowing, the all-wise. May my spirit be a sacrifice to the wrongs thou didst suffer, and my soul be a ransom for the adversities thou didst sustain. I beseech God by thee and by them whose faces have been illumined with the splendors of the light of thy countenance, and who for the love of thee have observed all whereunto they were bidden, to remove the veils that have come between thee and thy creatures, and to supply me with the good of this world and the world to come. Thou art in truth the Almighty, the most exalted, the all-glorious, the ever-forgiving, the most compassionate. Bless thou, O Lord my God, the divine oak tree and its leaves, and its boughs, and its branches, and its stems, and its offshoots, as long as thy most excellent titles will endure, and thy most august attributes will last. Protected them from the mischief of the aggressor and the hosts of tyranny. Thou art in truth the Almighty, the most powerful. Bless thou also, O Lord my God, thy servants and thy handmaidens who have attained unto thee. Thou truly art the all-bountiful, whose grace is infinite. No God is there save thee, the ever-forgiving, the most generous. Baha'u'llah.